Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers, from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Today, Adoration, Part 1, from Sri Aurobindo. All yoga is a turning of the human mind and the human soul, not yet divine in realization, but feeling the divine impulse and attraction in it, towards that by which it finds its greater being. Emotionally, the first form which this turning takes must be that of adoration. In ordinary religion, this adoration wears the form of external worship, and that again develops a most external form of ceremonial worship. This element is ordinarily necessary because the mass of men live in their physical minds, cannot realize anything except by the force of a physical symbol, and cannot feel that they are living anything except by the force of a physical action. We might apply here the Tantric gradation of Sadhana, which makes the way of the pasu, the herd, the animal or physical being, the lowest stage of its discipline, and say that the purely or predominantly ceremonial adoration is the first step of this lowest part of the way. It is evident that even real religion, and yoga is something more than religion, only begins when this quite outward worship corresponds to something really felt within the mind, some genuine submission, awe, or spiritual aspiration, to which it becomes an aid, an outward expression, and also a sort of periodical or constant reminder, helping to draw back the mind to it from the preoccupations of ordinary life. But so long as it is only an idea of the Godhead, to which one renders reverence or homage, we have not yet got to the beginning of yoga. The aim of yoga, being union, its beginning must always be a seeking after the divine, a longing after some kind of touch, closeness, or possession. When this comes on us, the adoration becomes always primarily an inner worship. We begin to make ourselves a temple of the divine. Our thoughts and feelings, a constant prayer of aspiration and seeking, our whole life, an external service and worship. It is as this change, this new soul tendency grows, that the religion of the devotee becomes a yoga, a growing contact and union. It does not follow that the outward worship will necessarily be dispensed with, but it will increasingly become only a physical expression or outflowing of the inner devotion and adoration, the wave of the soul throwing itself out in speech and symbolic act. Adoration, before it turns into an element of the deeper yoga of devotion, a petal of the flower of love, its homage and self-uplifting to its son, must bring with it if it is profound, an increasing consecration of the being to the divine, who is adored. And one element of this consecration must be a self-purifying, so as to become fit for the divine contact, or for the entrance of the divine into the temple of our being, or for his self-revelation in the shrine of the heart. This purifying may be ethical in its character, but it will not be merely the moralist seeking for the right and blameless action, or even, when once we reach the stage of yoga, an obedience to the law of God, as revealed in formal religion. But it will be a throwing away, catharsis, of all that conflicts, whether with the idea of the divine in himself or of the divine in ourselves. In the former case, it becomes in habit of feeling and outer act, an imitation of the divine. In the latter, a growing into his likeness in our nature. What inner adoration is to ceremonial worship, this growing into the divine likeness is to the outward ethical life. It culminates in a sort of liberation by likeness to the divine, a liberation from our lower nature, and a change into the divine nature. There is also the consecration of the thoughts to the divine. In its inception, this is the attempt to fix the mind on the object of adoration. For naturally, the restless human mind is occupied with other objects, and even when it is directed upwards, constantly drawn away by the world, so that in the end it habitually thinks of him, and all else is only secondary, and thought of only in relation to him. This is done often with the aid of a physical image, or more intimately and characteristically of a mantra or a divine name, through which the divine being is realized. There are supposed by those who systematize to be 3 stages of the seeking: through the devotion of the mind first, the constant hearing of the divine name, qualities, and all that has been attached to them; secondly, the constant thinking on them, or on the divine being, or personality; thirdly, the settling and fixing of the mind on the object, and by this comes the full realization. And by these too there comes, when the accompanying feeling or the concentration is very intense, the samadhi, the ecstatic trance in which the consciousness passes away from outer objects. But all this is really incidental. The one thing essential is the intense devotion of the thought in the mind to the object of adoration.